Hey everyone, it's Miss Christina with some Kids Kitchen for you. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a really easy baked macaroni and cheese. So macaroni and cheese sometimes gets a bit of a bad rap, but it's a really cool dish because you can eat it for lunch, you can eat it for dinner, it could just be a side dish, you can eat it for breakfast, I'm not here to judge you, but also because you can kind of play with it and you can add some of your own ingredients and give it a unique twist if you want. So first I will just show you all of the things that you need. I hope I don't forget anything. And then I'll walk you through it. So of course you need some noodles. Elbow macaroni is kind of the traditional shape, but you can use other kinds of noodles. I just wouldn't use something like spaghetti or linguine or anything like that. You want something that's small, like bow tie pasta would work as well. You can use regular noodles. I'm using gluten-free because I'm making this for my family and we have some gluten allergies. So you will need 16 ounces of noodles, which is usually the size of a box. Mine is 12 ounces, so I had to kind of mix around with two boxes here. So that's the main thing. And you'll want to cook your noodles first, your macaroni first. It takes a little while. I pre-cooked mine so that it wouldn't just be a video of me looking at a pot waiting for the macaroni to be done. So I have already cooked mine and it's in here. I have a lot. It ended up being a lot more than I thought, so I'm gonna have to put it in a really big dish. But so that's done and it's just sitting here waiting for the cheese sauce and everything to be done. Make sure you follow the instructions on the box of macaroni. Mine is a little bit different because of, it being gluten-free. So you want to cook that. If you like to add a little salt to your water or a little olive oil so that it doesn't stick, you can do that. Just make sure that you have a parent at home or an adult supervising. Okay, so that's the noodles. That's the first part. You want to get that done. Then for our cheese sauce, we're going to need butter, milk, of course, cheese. So you can kind of use whatever sort of cheese you want. Cheddar is a good one. I have sharp cheddar here. It doesn't have to be sharp if you don't like that kind. I also mixed a little bit of Gouda in mine. Let's give it a little different flavor. And you will need, what else do you need for the cheese sauce? You'll need flour. Again, I have to use something different because of the gluten allergy, so I'm using almond flour, but you can, oh, my cat's meowing, but you can use regular flour. And salt. You need some salt for your cheese sauce. And then we're going to top the whole thing with breadcrumb mixture. So for that, you'll need more butter. Breadcrumbs, again, gluten-free for me. You can use regular breadcrumbs, or you can skip this whole step if you don't like it. And some paprika. So then, of course, you'll need the dishes, the pots and pans and everything. For our cheese sauce, you'll want to use something like this. Doesn't have to be exact, but just something that's got enough room because you're going to make the cheese sauce and then you're going to put your noodles in it and mix it all together. I'm probably going to have to do it in 2 batches because I have so much, but we'll work around that. You will also need a microwave-safe bowl for when you make your breadcrumb mixture because we're going to melt the butter in here. Measuring cups, of course, you'll probably need 2 or you can just reuse 1 because we have 1 for the milk, which I've already measured out, and we'll have to measure out the cheese. And then we'll need a teaspoon and a tablespoon for some of our other measuring. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I probably am, just bear with me. So if you want to cook along with me, you can pause here and grab your materials, or we'll just keep going. So you'll want to set your oven to 350 degrees and let it preheat while you're doing the other stuff. That way, once the oven is ready to go, you can just pop your noodles in there. So So let's go ahead and get started. So we already have the macaroni made, like I said, so we're just gonna set it off to the side, get it out of our way. And we're gonna work on our cheese sauce. So I'm just gonna double check my recipe here. Okay, so we are going to melt 4 tablespoons of butter, which would be half a stick if you have it in this kind of a format, which is really cool because then you can just take a knife and cut through. It's measured on the side. Tablespoons here. So you just want to cut it in half. And the nice thing is, yeah, it's just super easy. So we've got that ready to go. Oh, you'll need a whisk for your cheese sauce. Let me find one. Okay, one of these guys. So we're going to melt the butter in our pan. So you don't want to go at a super high temperature. I would do medium heat. So you're going to set your stove to medium. We're going to let it warm a little bit, and I'm going to look to see what else I need for this. So we're going to put the butter in first and let it melt while stirring it with our whisk. And then we're going to add in the flour and the salt. So you want to make sure you have that nice and handy. So we've got flour, salt. And for the flour, you're going to need 4 tablespoons. So that's the larger one here. So 4 of these guys and 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. So you can just tilt this down so you can see. Okay, we're gonna put the butter into the pan and let it melt down a little bit. Okay, so you can see it's starting to melt here. So just let it do its thing. You can move the butter around the pan to help it out a little bit. It's melting. Okay, so that's gonna take a second. And let's see here. Make sure all our ingredients are ready to go. Okay, it's getting there. It's cooking, you always have to be patient. And so you can see, the lighting makes that kind of hard to see, but it's starting to melt here. Turn up the heat just a little bit. We still want to stay around a medium. Just give it a little assistance. So the butter is almost melted. So while that last little chunk of butter is melting, I'm going to measure out my flour. So we need 4 tablespoons of flour. actually what we can do, with some of this, we can put the flour and the salt in our bowl here, and then we can just add it into there. So we need 4 tablespoons. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and it's a good thing to have your recipe handy in case you forget, like I do. How much salt did we need? 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, I can just add that in there, and I'm gonna mix it up. Okay, so now our butter is nice and melted, and we're going to add this in and stir it with our whisk. You want to do this for about a minute or 2, kind of depends on how high your stove is set, but you want the mixture to turn like a nice golden brown. Just whisking it up. You want to make sure that you continuously move the whisk around so that it doesn't burn. I feel like I should have some music going or something. My cat wants attention. I don't know if you could hear her making some noise in the background. I don't know if she thinks I'm cooking for her. I don't think cats like macaroni and cheese. I could be wrong. Okay. So now what we're gonna do, now that that's nice and bubbly and kind of ready to go here, we're going to slowly mix in a cup of the milk. So we have 2 cups of milk, but we're gonna stir in half of it first, very slowly, and you're gonna keep whisking while you're doing that. Again, we don't want it to burn. Okay, so our mixture here is this nice kind of a pale brown color. So we're gonna do 1 cup of milk, very slowly. Okay. Okay. And turn down the heat a little bit. And you're just going to whisk this up. Okay. All right. Now that we've mixed that first cup of milk with the mixture that we already had in there, we're going to add in the rest of the milk. And we're going to keep whisking. We're going to keep whisking until it thickens up. So you'll be able to feel once the sauce gets thicker, it's going to be harder to stir it. It's not going to be as liquidy and splashing around in the pan. of the way since I'm done with it. Maybe you can see a little bit better. All right, keep whisking. That sounds like an alien or something. The whisk. Kind of weird. Just waiting for it to thicken up a little bit. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit again. Kind of have to play around when you're cooking. See what works for you. If something's not working quite well, you just try something else. So anytime you're heating milk, you really want to be careful that you're keeping it inside the pan. I tried to make hot chocolate one time and I spilled all over the stove and it smelled so bad and it was so hard to clean up. So you wouldn't think so, but it was like a complete disaster in my kitchen. So be careful that you're not stirring really vigorously and splashing it all over the place. And you also want to keep stirring because milk can burn really easily and you don't want it burning on the bottom of your pan. So, just whisking her up. Who here prefers boxed macaroni and cheese compared to homemade macaroni and cheese? I personally prefer the homemade macaroni and cheese. Plus, you make a lot more of it, so you can keep eating it for leftovers and stuff. Okay. Starting to thicken up. So now you can add your cheese. So you want 2 cups of cheese. Again, I have a mixture of sharp cheddar and Gouda, but you can try any kind you want. You can also add a little bit more than 2 cups if you like your macaroni and cheese extra cheesy. And who doesn't? This is a great dish because it's vegetarian, but if you are vegan, you could try with vegan alternatives for milk and cheese. I have never tried it that way, so I'm not sure how that would turn out, but it's a good time to experiment, see if that's a possibility. So there's still a little liquidy here, but I think it's getting ready to go. So let's go ahead and pour our cheese in. Oh, so much cheese. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep stirring until your cheese is nice and melty. Oh, spilled the milk. Vigorous whisking. Just check and see. Okay, I'm gonna add a little more cheese to mine. The sauce here is a little liquidy. We'll just put the rest of the bag. Why not? I don't think anyone's gonna complain that there's too much cheese in your macaroni and cheese. That's better. It smells really good in here. It smells like a fondue restaurant. All right. I'm going to just go for it. I'm going to add a little bit more of the Gouda. I like to think of recipes as guidelines, so you can kind of mix it up and do your own thing. Except when you're baking, you usually have to be more precise when you're baking. All right, so our cheese sauce is looking good. Let me see if I can show you. It's kind of hard to see, but it's pretty thick. Not too crazy thick, but good consistency. Now, because we have so much macaroni, I am going to pour the macaroni into the dish that we're going to bake it in first, and then I'm going to add the cheese and mix it up that way. If you have less macaroni or if you have a much bigger pot, you can put the macaroni in here and mix it up, but you're getting the same result either way. So I turned off the heat on my stove because this cheese is ready to rock. So grab the dish. So this is what I'm making my macaroni in. You can use a glass dish. You can use whatever you have that is oven safe. That's very important, oven safe. And this particular dish doesn't need to be greased at all, but depending on what you're cooking with, you might want to lay down a nice bit of butter in there so that your macaroni doesn't stick. So I'm gonna put my macaroni in here and cross my fingers that it all fits. Of course, we all washed our hands before cooking, so I'm gonna just use my fingers to get it in here. That is so much macaroni. I'm gonna be eating macaroni for the rest of my life, I think. Oh, goodness. All right. That is an obscene amount of macaroni. As I said, with recipes, you can adjust them however you need. So if you don't want an obscene amount of macaroni, you can make less. But I'll be sharing this with my family, so I think we'll get through it. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my cheese sauce to this dish. You don't have to be real precise with it. You just kind of pour it in because we're going to mix it up. So I'm going to use this spoon here. Get all of that out. Okay. And then you want to mix it up. Spread that cheese around. So all of the noodles are nice and coated. double checking my recipe while I'm mixing this up. Okay. All right, pretty well mixed there. Just pop that in there. Okay, so now it's gonna sit there and we're gonna make the breadcrumb topping to go on it. If you don't want to make that, you don't have to, but it gives it a nice like golden brown crunchy bit on the top, which is really delicious. So for that, super easy. So we're gonna take the remaining 4 tablespoons of our stick of butter. We're gonna put it in a microwave safe dish. So we're just gonna use this one that I've been using. And you're gonna melt it. I'm just gonna pop it in the microwave, maybe about 10 seconds, and just check on it, stir it up, pop it back in if you still need to, which you probably will, but better than burning it. So I'm gonna go do that. Okay, let's see how much breadcrumbs we need. Breadcrumbs, we need half a cup. So I'm gonna use this one. Let me check that butter. Mix it up. And not totally melt it, so we're gonna pop it back in the microwave. 30 seconds might be good. So half a cup of breadcrumbs. Open this bad boy. You can make your own breadcrumbs too. I don't really know how to do that, but you can Google it. I'm just using the store-bought ones. Okay. So half a cup. That's good. All right, so I'm gonna mix up the rest of the butter to melt it. I'm very fancy here. I'm just mixing with a butter knife. Okay, so then we're gonna add our breadcrumbs to the bowl with the melted butter. So your butter should look like that. Okay. Excuse me. And then stir that up. Okay, melted butter and breadcrumbs smells delicious. I just have to say that. Okay, so it's gonna look like that. Kind of looks like if you've ever made graham cracker crust, like for a pie. That's what it looks like. That's what it smells like. It's delicious. Okay, and then you can add some paprika. This isn't in my recipe, but a lot of people put paprika in the breadcrumbs for the macaroni and cheese. So I'm not measuring it. I'm gonna eyeball it. So however much you like. If you don't like paprika, don't put it in there. That's okay. So I'm gonna shake some paprika in there. Stir it up. Okay, so that's how it looks. I might add a little more paprika on top because I really like paprika. But let's just smooth out our bed of macaroni that we have happening here. And then you can, if you want to go in with your fingers, again, they should be clean. You should have washed them. Sprinkle this on top. It's a little wet. It's a little crumbly. Kind of feels like sand, but it's gonna make it really pretty when it comes out and give it a nice crunch. And try to spread it out evenly. Oh, I just dropped a giant chunk of breadcrumbs right there. And just do it a little bit out of a time. It's a little easier that way. Okay. Okay. Oh, it looks so delicious. If you want to add a little more paprika, like I said, I'm going to do that. Just gives it a nice flavor. Just a little bit on top. If you want to go crazy and add some more cheese, I'm not going to stop you. You can if you want. Maybe try a little Parmesan on top. We're just throwing all kinds of cheese in there. Why not? Live a little. All right. I think I'm good with that. I think I'm happy with this giant bathtub size container of mac and cheese. So that's what it's going to look like when it goes in the oven. You want to pop it in for probably about 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. Once you see that it's nice and crispy and crunchy on the top, you can take it out. And then that's it. So I'm not going to make you wait around while mine cooks, but I'm going to try to take a picture and pop it into the description so you can see what it should look like in the end. Thank you for watching. I hope you had fun, and I hope your macaroni and cheese is delicious.